All right. Good morning, everybody. 1 2 1 2 check. There we go. Check check. All right, we are live again with another critiquing of quotes episode. We did Jordan Peterson yesterday. If you want to check out that video, go check that out. I think out of his 12 rules for life, I agreed with 3 of them. So I gave him a score of 3 out of 12. Hopefully I'm coming through nice and clear for you guys. Just sending out a couple invites. We'll do a poll as well. I don't know if we'll do that actually. Welcome, welcome. Feel free to drop a like. What up, Gregory? So yeah, I just want to dive into these. This is like a kind of a rapid fire analytical philosophy hour that I'm doing. This will be a series where I just go through. I think I'm going to rotate between, I'll do a contemporary thinker and then I'll jump to a thinker of antiquity, and I'll kind of go back and forth, and then we'll hit the moderns and the romantics, and we'll go through a lot of different people, and some episodes might be shorter than others, but yeah, we did Jordan Peterson, like I said yesterday, and so I thought we would do the babe today, Aristotle himself. Let me know your general thoughts about Aristotle, by the way, when you guys get into the room. What do you think of his work? What do you think of his journey, his life story? But I'm just going to jump into these right away. We'll do this one first. A lot of people, I hear a lot of, I guess, basically all of us are postmodernists because, the postmodernist endeavor is to examine, those things we thought we had nailed down and see if we got them right, look at things through a new lens, things like this. So, postmodernists like Jordan Peterson. And it's one of Don, one of the brilliant people that hangs out at Pangburn. He says this a lot, that, Jordan Peterson is a postmodernist, and couldn't agree with him more. Like, what Jordan Peterson does with Christianity is a postmodern endeavor. I don't think this can be denied. Which is interesting because he strongly critiques the postmodernists, kind of like it's the other, like the group on the other side of him. Anyways, let's jump into Aristotle. Let's start with this quote. Be a free thinker and don't accept everything you hear as truth. Be critical and evaluate what you believe in. I mean, there's not much I can disagree with there. Be a free thinker. And don't accept everything you hear as truth. Be critical and evaluate what you believe in. Sure. Yeah, and he's not getting into like the specific ideas of what truth is here. He's just saying, like, whatever you think is true, this should be something that is not everything you hear. And I think that's wise. Be critical and evaluate what you believe in. Yeah. Criticize your own belief structures and systems, ways of knowing, epistemological standards of truth. Feel free and empowered to criticize these things. 100%. That's beautiful. So here's one that's a little more esoteric. Educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. What do you guys think Aristotle meant by that? Obviously, by educating the heart, I think he's speaking ultimately to our sentiments, our feelings, trying to understand our feelings, and the ethics that are born out of those. So, educating the mind without educating the heart. I think, he separates these things in a very heart-mind dualism. Educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. I wouldn't say so. I think if he is to mean that, heart would be where your maybe your passion, educating your passion, educating your capacity for love and things like this. I think you can do either or and still receive an education. So if that is what Aristotle meant, then I would disagree with him on that. Let's go to... Oh, and by the way, I know a lot of you are going to see this after the fact, and I like doing these live just in case anyone happens to be hanging around, but I know all of you are, at work grinding it out, so I tip my hat to you, and feel free to drop your comments or critiques of my critiques after this video is published, because I will always just publish it, as is, which I would like to see a lot more thinkers doing. Just turn your camera on. We don't need all the fancy editing. Just talk, think, allow yourself to think on your sleeve, dare to be wrong, live on the air. Oh no, but that video will last forever. So what? Allow people to be there with you in your journey, in your educational adventure. I think it's important to have examples of that. Yeah, not everything needs bells and whistles. Ah, yes, this is quite a famous one. Those who know, do. Those that understand, teach. Not necessarily, man. Those who know, do. Okay, so you've acquired knowledge regarding something to do, or that you can do. So you do that thing. Okay. Those that understand, teach. Do you think that a lot of people who you find teaching really understand what they're teaching? And maybe what Aristotle means here is those that truly teach, in his view, that are truly teaching the material, they are the ones that truly understand. So if that's what he means, I definitely agree with him. Those who know how to do it will do it. Those that understand it, and to do something, you don't have to necessarily understand it. Like he's saying, you could be riding horse your entire life, and you could be the best horse rider in the world, but you don't really understand the craft in a way that you would be able to deliver to someone else and teach to someone else. I think that's what he's getting at. So I do agree. Those who know, do. Those that understand, teach. That's very interesting in such a short sentence, in such a short statement and claim, so much information. That's fascinating. This is going to be a day of word porn. Captain Jack Smackabee Kraken says, what if he means compassion? Use your education in the way that is the most compassionate. If you aren't versed in compassion, your education would have been non-compassion and therefore bad. Yeah, that could be, Jack. Adam Bilbrey says, economists understand how money moves and can tell you why things happen. Entrepreneurs know how to make money and do. Interesting. Good thoughts here. I like this. Those who know do. You now know how to do it, so you do. Those that understand teach. Those that have an understanding. Now, this part, let's analyze this a little more. Those that understand teach. Those that understand cannot necessarily teach and will not teach. What do you guys think about that? So those that in order, and he's kind of saying it, in order to teach truly, you must understand. So this isn't those who know do. It's interesting because what do you guys think? Is this descriptive or prescriptive? Right? Is he describing reality, or is he wishing his desired reality into existence here? Those who know do. Those who understand teach. And guys, this exercise we're doing right now is absent any greater context before or after what Aristotle may have written, or whoever we're doing this quote farming and analyzing. And the reason why I want to do this is because I noticed with speaking with people, like if they want to get a quick understanding of some of the things that some thinkers in history said, they will go onto Google and type in Aristotle quotes or Jordan Peterson quotes, and they'll kind of start getting to know people in this fashion. So I kind of wanted to go through that process and give examples of if I was to be doing that, how I would think about these things when I look at them. But yeah, that's a very interesting quote. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Aristotle. Very interesting. Let's break that one down. We are what we repeatedly do. Well, I would put it, we are our pleasure drive, and our pleasure drive is dictating what we have access to on our pleasure hierarchy. And these are going to be things that we repeatedly do. So, yes, I would agree with that. We aren't really the things that we do one time in our lives, right? We are the things that we do kind of on repeat. And that isn't to say, I don't think Aristotle would mean that, repeating things precisely or exactly the way we did them the time before, but I think he's talking in a more pragmatic sense. We are what we repeatedly do. We are a coffee drinker. Cheers. We are a hockey player. I have a hockey game tonight, by the way. 10:15 p.m. Oh my God, I'm going to fall asleep on the bench. We are a swimmer. We are a baseball player. We are a toque wearer, or for those of you in the United States of America, a beanie wearer. Beanie. Don't call it that. Cringe. We are academics. We are PhDs. We are musicians. We are what we repeatedly do. Very interesting. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Let's play with the concept of excellence there. Let's play with excellence. Right. Okay, well let's play with the contemporary definition here. An outstanding feature or quality would be the archaic usage, the quality of being outstanding or extremely good. Okay. So, being outstanding or extremely good, Aristotle's saying, then is not an act, but a habit. However, can not the child who has never hit the baseball once step up to the plate when all the cards are on the table and smack one out of the park? Is this not excellence? Or would we just say that's just luck? I would say that is the quality of being outstanding or extremely good in that moment. Can we not say that? It seems like Aristotle's speaking of excellence is more of a maintained quality of outstanding outstandingness or being extremely good. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act. Yeah, so he's obviously relating it to this has to be a repetition for him. Excellence needs to be repeated. So to demonstrate excellence to Aristotle, it would need to be repeated. Where I would say excellence can be in a moment. It doesn't need to be repeated. So I think Aristotle and I would disagree on this one. Trusty 8 podcast says, beginner's luck. One excellent hit does not define an excellent hitter. Yeah, I would agree with you on that. But can we not say they were excellent? Adam follows up by saying, what I'm saying is that an economist is a teacher. They can apply teachable principles to explain things that already happen. Well, of course, Adam, you can think of economists that aren't teachers and that feel as though they don't have the skill of teaching, right? I know everyone could teach something if they they can walk up to someone even if they're like whatever, they're completely inept when it comes to like working with others or being able to deliver information to someone, but they could say the information and okay, they have taught someone a piece of information. But that's why I was talking about Aristotle's concept of teaching as being like kind of the true teacher, maybe in the sense that he was using it. Jack says, however, a best-selling author only selling one book does make them a writer. Ah, very nice. Well, Jack, I would say the act of writing makes someone a writer. I don't think they need to sell a book, you know? So, yeah, so Aristotle seems to think that excellence must be repeatedly demonstrated, which I would disagree with. What else we got here? Let's scroll down. And I want to use Google because, like I was saying before, I want to see the quotes that people see when they type in Aristotle quotes. And look, we might come across some that really aren't Aristotle quotes, and it's like Greta Thunberg or whatever her name is based as fuck. Quote Aristotle. I know people create shit like that. Sometimes it slips through too. Like you'll see, like I don't know, I've seen on some atheist boards on Facebook where they will quote they will quote someone and it was really a joke, but the person running the page or whatever doesn't know. Uh, ah, he who has never learned to obey cannot be a good commander. Okay, is there a human being that can never learn to obey? And let's play with the concept a little bit of obey, because I automatically think of, well, of course, we must obey our mothers when we are babes and infants. At some level, I mean, yeah, when I was a child, I was probably disobedient as fuck, I would assume. But sure, I would obey some commands and know how to do that. Comply with the command, direction, or request of, submit to authority, behave in accordance with. Yeah. So let's perhaps disagree with Aristotle here. He who has never learned to obey cannot be a good commander. Maybe to throw him a crust of bread here, he's speaking more to like the once you get out in the world on your own, if you don't learn how to obey, if you don't learn how to be an employee maybe before you become a CEO. Yeah. He who has never learned to obey cannot be a good commander. I don't think that's necessarily true. Even in that sense, like learning, and obviously we can play with this in a lot of different levels. And I went to the employee boss thought, or how about a teacher student as well? You know, how to obey the teacher's demands of, do your homework. Yeah, I don't know about that one. What do you guys think? And in a general sense, of course, like I agree. Like I don't think there's probably ever been a human being that hasn't learned to obey. But he wouldn't state this if that's what he meant. I think he would state this in more the sense of like, if you want to be a leader, you got to learn to follow. Or if you want to be a CEO, learn to be an employee. So I would disagree in the way that I think he meant it here. It's an interesting quote though. I hear like colloquial versions of this often, where people will say like what I was saying. It's like, oh, you want to move up in this company? First learn how to shovel snow, or first learn how to. It reminds me of my experience. After I finished high school, I moved to Calgary, Alberta, and I started off in the cleaning the meat department at night for a Sobeys grocery store. And, I started there, and I learned to do that job very well. And eventually I was able to get my meat cutting ticket, and work my way up the ranks. And within a year, I was an assistant meat manager. And then a year after that, I was running the biggest Sobeys store in Western Canada at age 20. So yeah, like learning, and what are some of the things you learn at those levels, those entry levels? Well, you learn about mostly you learn, I think, the people around you. The tasks themselves are not, the entry level tasks themselves are not difficult necessarily. It's like so long as you meet the requirements for the job. If you have to be able to lift 50 pounds, and then you start the job and you can't lift 50 pounds, of course that's going to be a hurdle that's going to be very difficult to overcome. But You learn the people and learn how to be in an environment with people that you may agree with, you may disagree with. Oh, this person likes listening to music while they work. This person doesn't, and that person really doesn't like the kind of music that person plays. You know, the idiosyncrasies of each individual and what it means to bring all that together to try and produce something. That's you know, the art of people. Yeah, not person, not the art of person necessarily, but the art of people. But in order to understand the art of people, you have to also understand the art of person to some degree, the individual. But yeah, and you work your way, you learn systems, right? There's so many systems around you. The system of the meat saw. Okay, these parts have to come off first, then the saw blade. And then the saw blade has to go into that sanitizer, into that thing, and then I move on to the grinder, because how many, do we have enough grinds out there on the counter, ground beef, for the rest of the evening before I clean the machine? And then you're like, oh, and then you start being able to judge really well. Okay, it's a Tuesday, and I know, because I've worked here and I have the knowledge now, that we're only going to sell 10 to 12 packs more on this day, and ideally we would have that all cleared out because we have to throw it out the next day, the ground beef. So yeah, like all that stuff you learn, and then you apply that as you work up. So and did I need to learn to obey to be able to do that? Yeah, you needed to have that skill, right? If you didn't have that skill to obey, then you wouldn't become a commander. But that doesn't mean you wouldn't be a good commander. Very interesting. All right, let's move on to something else. Dignity does not consist in possessing honors. Okay, so dignity doesn't come from honors. Now, with some of these quotes, when we do jump back into antiquity, we're going to have to play with the language a little bit here to get the gist of what's being said. So let's play with the concept of dignity. Just so we're clear, the state or quality of being worthy of honor or respect. Ooh, that's an interesting concept to me. Respect. That one's very interesting. We'll have to do an episode. Eventually, I'm going to start going through just individual concepts, and we'll dedicate, an hour or two to each concept as we work through. That's one we will definitely wrestle with. I've done shows on respect before on Call-In, which, by the way, if you guys haven't joined us on the new Call-In app, please do. You can just go to callin.com, CALLIN.com, and we are live there every day with famous authors and intellectuals, speaking with them and having our own group discussions. So please do join us there. It's a really good app for having group discussions and call-in shows and things like that. So dignity, okay, can also be, a sense of pride in oneself. Okay. Dignity does not consist in possessing honors. And what do you think honors. Let's play with, but in the consciousness that we deserve them. Okay, so he's saying, being worthy of honor. Well, it's interesting because he's kind of repeating himself a little bit. Dignity does not consist in possessing honors. So honors in the sense of like accolades, perhaps, but in the consciousness that we deserve them. So that the true dignity would be in the consciousness that we deserve them. Being conscious of the fact that we deserve them, of the truth of that. So let's say you receive the most valuable player award on a hockey team, and you know in your mind that you do not deserve it, and perhaps you got it because your father is the coach of the hockey team, and that's what you believe. You believe this, and you know it. You claim to know it, and you believe it. So I think Aristotle's just pointing out here that, just because you have this great honor doesn't necessarily mean you deserve it. Whether you deserve it or not is going to live in the consciousness. Yeah, I agree with him. I agree with him on that. Some of the stuff that we go through it's going to seem like, oh yeah, of course we agree on that, because a lot of stuff that Aristotle has said has been ingrained in our thinking. Like very influential thinkers and writers of the past you're going to find their teachings and words come up in like the general colloquial understanding of the way things are. It's like, oh yeah, of course that's the case. Well, to many people at the time Aristotle wrote this, he felt the need to write this down, right? Because someone might be going around and be like, look at all the accolades on my wall. What the fuck have you ever done? It's like, well, let's take a look at those accolades. Oh, okay. You were awarded the greatest warrior of the year. And actually, what I can remember is that you hid behind, at the very, very back. You didn't kill anyone. You didn't have to fight anyone. And you were in the up hiding in the weeds while everyone else was fighting, but you got that because you happened to be the commander or whatever. That warrior accolade or award should have went to this guy. He slayed, 800 barbarians last year. How can it not go to him? So you start going through and being like, okay, what do you truly deserve? Right? The Trusty Ape says, is he saying that less intelligence is not indicative of less honor? Yeah, I mean, less intelligence. No, I don't think he's mentioning intelligence. It's more meta than that. He's not focusing on intelligence. Let's see. Okay, that's another one on excellence. Okay, here we go. Courage is the first of human qualities because it is the quality which guarantees the others. Okay. Courage. And let's oh, that's interesting. Okay, so strength in the face of pain or grief, or the ability to do something that frightens one. So overcoming being scared or frightened about something is the first of human qualities because I disagree with this big time. Courage is the first of human qualities because it is the quality. Now let's see what he might mean by quality. The standard of something is measured against other things of a similar kind. The degree of excellence of something. Wow, he very interested in excellence, huh? A distinctive attribute or characteristic possessed by someone. A distinctive attribute. courage is the first of human qualities. No way, man. Not at all. I mean, you could say sadness is the first of human quality. Happiness is the first of human qualities, because it is the quality which guarantees the others. Or, let's say, not courage, but what would we call wanting? You know, the wanting of a child. The neediness, I I don't think courage should live there. Courage is the first of human qualities because it is the quality which guarantees the other. How does courage guarantee the others? Courage won't guarantee happiness. Courage won't guarantee. You don't need to be courageous in order to have happiness. This one's weird. I'm going to give Aristotle 2 thumbs down on this one. Courage is the first of human qualities because it is the quality. Now, is he trying to say that like a child must have courage to ask its mother for milk? The child, the teen must have courage in order to enlist in the army. Sure. The teen must have courage to eat. No. The teen must have courage. The adult must have courage to work. No, not necessarily. The adult must have courage to write. No, not necessarily. And we have to understand that courage means something, right? to overcome our fear, right? The ability to do something that that frightens us, overcoming that. Strength in the face of pain or grief. So no, courage is not the first of human qualities. So I think Aristotle's wrong on that one. What is this thing that he says about... I always see people posting some things about him and they're like, he's sexist. Aristotle's sexist quotes. Okay, let's see this. This will be fun. So, okay, he says, so it is naturally with the male and the female. I don't think I've seen the one is superior, the other inferior. The one governs, the other is governed. And the same rule must necessarily hold good with respect to all mankind. Whoa! Hold up. The chat has now been invaded by purple-haired third wave feminists. Oh my God. Kill him. Kill Travis Pangburn for reading that. Kill Aristotle. Oh, he's already dead. Aristotle says, so it is naturally with the male and the female. That one is superior, the other inferior. The one governs, the other is governed, and the same rule. Whoa, hang on a sec. Wait a second. He's not outlining which one is which here. So it is naturally with the male and the female. Unless this is cut off or something. Here, let me see if I can find I don't the one is superior, the other inferior. The one governs, the other is governed. And the same rule must necessarily hold good with respect to all mankind. I mean, if people are to say that in that specific quote, he's talking about men being superior, because he could be saying the one governs, as in the woman or the female governs in her way, and the male is governed by her. that one maybe not so much. However, I can't save you from this one. Aristotle. A proper wife should be as obedient as a slave. I mean, if you're into that sort of thing, I mean, no, but come on. A proper wife should be as obedient as a slave. Nah. Who wants to own someone as property? Who wants someone to act as though they are your property? That's fucked. Now, look, I'm not trying to yuck your yums if that's some sexual endeavor that is agreed upon between you and your partner and consented to. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about this statement: a proper wife should be as obedient as a slave. No, I'm sorry, man. Ball Diablo says so based. So Ball, be honest with me. You want a slave as a wife? You want a wife slave? Come on. We're going to have to get into Buddha at some point. Gautam Buddha. Yeah. Well, we'll go back to Aristotle quotes. Let's see this one. It is during our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light. It is during our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light. Yeah. And this is where we get into more poetic ways of abstracting from our experience. Sometimes it takes art to do that, you know? I think this is why art came about in the first place, because sometimes our descriptive, analytical, pragmatic usages of labels and words just doesn't suffice. We have to sing about it. We have to write. We have to play the piano about it. We have to be poetic about it. So, yeah, it is during our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light. And of course, see, this is a prescription, right? He's saying we must do this to find solace in our worst moments, right? Yeah, think of the darkest moments in your life. Maybe a family member or a friend died. These darkest moments, and when everything feels so brutal and terrible and nothing seems good, you really do have to focus in order to see something good through all of that pain, through all that trauma. You have to really, really work to see something good through it all. Yeah, and I agree with Aristotle on that. Yeah, that's yeah, I like that. Um Oh, okay, on anger here. Anyone can become angry. That is easy. But to be angry with the right person, to the right degree, at the right time, for the right purpose, and in the right way, this is not easy. Yes. Dude, that is the good shit right there, folks. Fuck yeah. I got to read that 14 billion more times. Anyone can become angry. Yes, this emotional knee-jerk reaction that we have to things. That's not difficult. That just happens to us. We don't even have to think about it. We're angry. That is easy. But to be angry with the right person, that is not, you're really angry at someone else and you redirect it towards your partner, for example, to the right degree. And you don't just redirect it to your partner, but you redirect it to your partner tenfold. Why? At the right time. Oh, and you happen to do this when your partner has had a terrible day and they've just finished telling you about how shitty their day has been, and they're so glad to be home with you. For the right purpose, they don't deserve this. What purpose are you serving in redirecting it to them? The purpose is you're just trying to get this out, and they happen to be in your sights and in the right way, instead of talking to your partner about how frustrated you are about them and doing this in the right way. And the right way also meaning trying not to raise your voice, all of these matters of your own physics that may, unnecessarily disrupt what could be a fruitful dialectic between you and your partner, or you and the right target. This is not easy. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah. Yeah, that's how the kids say based AF. To appreciate the beauty of a snowflake, it is necessary to stand out in the cold. Well, we can actually appreciate the beauty of a snowflake without doing so. And, of course, even during Aristotle's time, it's like a painting of a snowflake might suffice. But I know what he is getting at, that not so, not so on the head descriptively. He's getting at sometimes to find appreciation in something, you have to, sit in the reality of it. In order to have beautiful dogs in your home, you're going to have to pick up dog shit. In the world today, your dog just can't go out and shit. You can't just let it pile up in your yard. The kids are playing out there. You're going to get a fine if your dog. So, there's a lot of day-to-day contemporary examples we can apply this to. So yeah, there are sometimes going to be sacrifices you need to make in order to find beauty, or to be able to experience the beauty to its full extent. Wow, Nikola Tesla has come back from the dead to join us today. What up? All right, guys, we'll do a couple more here. This has been fun. Aristotle says, through discipline comes freedom. Maybe, maybe not. Yeah, you can be disciplined and as fuck and get no freedom out of it. In fact, this is something some authoritarian regime might say to you. Through discipline comes freedom. Yeah. What do you guys think of this one? Through discipline comes freedom. Yeah, I don't think discipline brings you freedom. Discipline can, in fact, give you the illusion of freedom just by virtue of being disciplined. So I don't, no, I disagree with this. Through discipline comes freedom. How about through through policies that allow you to not have your personhood violated, and that allows you to pursue happiness and prosperity, comes freedom. Something like that off the top of my head. Yeah, I don't agree. Now, he could be talking about like freedom from your emotional knee-jerk reactions. You know, freedom from the things in your mind that seek to wreak havoc on you. So if we're talking about being disciplined in that sense, freeing yourself from that, but you don't free yourself from it. Yeah, this is a battle between your software and your hardware, your pleasure hierarchy and your pleasure drive. So, yeah, I disagree. Oh, what else we got? Close that one. Oh, yeah. I'm seeing if... Right, I think it's his... Aristotle says, the worst thing about slavery is that the slaves eventually get to like it. What do you guys think of that? The worst thing about slavery is that slaves eventually get to like it. No, not necessarily. I mean, some slaves might eventually say like, oh, yeah, I like that I get a hot meal and this, that, and the other thing versus how things were before. But, or, you know, and maybe some might legitimately say, you know, but that's not the worst. The worst thing about slavery is that slaves eventually get to like it. No, the worst thing about slavery is assuming to own another human being as property. That's the worst thing about slavery. It's like, oh, I own that other human being. Like, how could someone even even dare to assume that they can own someone else's property. It's moral bankruptcy. Well, the moral bankruptcy of slavery in general. And look, I can understand where people are like, they think they're doing a good thing because they're so stuck in this idea that like the slaves are necessarily either different or worse than they are, and they're doing them a favor, kind of like the same way you're doing a dog a favor that you've rescued from the pound. But that's just starting off in a morally, based on my perspective, a morally bankrupt position. And of course, my moral calculus is a well-being calculus where I seek to maximize well-being for myself and those around me. Part of the wellness of mind, which is a part of the well-being calculus, if you ask somebody, and if they're of sound mind, if they would either be free from their owner, their master, to pursue their own prosperity and happiness, or to be owned, you're almost universally going to get the answer of wanting to be free. And maybe what Aristotle's getting at is that the worst part of that is that, the people who would say, no, I want to stay right here because I'm guaranteed this work, or I'm guaranteed this security. And he's saying that is the most insidious aspect of it, is that you can groom people into it. So sure, if he's saying, well, the worst thing about slavery is grooming people into liking it, I would still say that the worst aspects are the things that cause the most trauma, which I don't think would be the process of grooming them to like it. I think it would be more the hangings, the whippings, the abuse. But of course, the coercion is a nasty aspect of it as well. So I think if he said one of the worst things about slavery, I would agree with him, but he claimed it to be the worst. Very interesting. Interesting. Man is by nature a political animal. It depends what you mean by political, of course. Being interested in or active in politics, no. He would be wrong based on that usage. Relating to the ideas or strategies of a particular party or group in politics, no. Relating to the government or the public affairs of a country, no. Yeah, I mean, by all of our colloquial usages of what it means to be political, I would say no. Like it means something. Like some people say, like, oh, it's political if you talk about belief in God, but that's not really like political or politics as it's defined. And I kind of get what he's getting at. Like if you've ever been in a upper management position or CEO of a company, and well, I guess in any role, but I think as you move up in the power hierarchy of a company, you start seeing more of the political games that people might play. So if he's talking in that sense, I would say some people are political animals, but some people are not. Some people are just doing their job, being honest, being truthful. They have their principles and purposes that they are trying to pursue and serve honestly. And they're not interested in this the political elements of what other people, gossip and trying to like acts of coercion and things like this with trying to turn people against other people. I've always been very phobic to that, like when someone's doing that, and I'm just like, what are you doing? Go and talk to them. Like, go talk to that person. Why are you telling me this? Oh, I just thought you should know that they said this about you. And then, I would be the kind of guy that said, hey, so-and-so. And then they'd be like, no, don't. They were saying that, you were saying this about me. I'm happy to address it right now with both of you, because I don't like this thing of like going around, talking behind each other's back and things like that. Like, and some might say, well, that's just your political perspective. But I think what he's talking about is like, kind of like this, like goal to win as opposed to goal to mastering your position or mastering your craft. So yeah, I don't think man is a political animal by nature. Man is definitely an animal. For those of you out there that don't want to believe you're an animal, you just are. Categorically, scientifically, if you don't value those things, I would ask you what you think you are, if not an animal. But anyways, a political animal? No, I think some people are not. Some people don't want anything to do with politics, even in their home, even in their friend groups. I've been in friend groups before where it's like one of them is like kind of like the political one, where they'll be like, oh, did you see what this person was wearing? Oh my God. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's like, yeah, that's, I see that as kind of like political animal behavior. But, yeah. Cool. Well, we're at an hour here. Please feel free to drop under this video any of your favorite Aristotle quotes. We can keep the conversations rolling in the comment section below. Be sure to subscribe, hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and we're going to keep this series rolling. Just casually going through and critiquing quotes and having conversations. Thanks so much to Nikola Tesla for raising up from his grave and joining us today. Trusty Ape, thank you. Baal, thank you. Jack, everyone. We'll see you guys soon. Be sure to check out the call-in schedule, callin.com, to see what we have coming up. We have a lot of exciting guests. So I'll catch you guys tomorrow or the next day here on YouTube. As always, let art and science inspire.